quite a lively atmosphere, so we go to the Ramat Gan Stadium in Tel Aviv, the national stadium, for the first competitive meeting between these two. It's Israel and Croatia from Group E, England's group. Match commentators Tony Gale and Ian Dark.
Welcome to Tel Aviv, a city that's featured, of course, in 1,000 news bulletins in these troubled times in the Middle East. But football very much the focus tonight in Group E, a match between two unbeaten sides who are threatening England's qualification for the European Championships. Here's the team news for you. Israel, captained by West Ham's Yossi Ben-Ayoun, who plays despite a slight knee ligament tear. I'm not sure what Alan Pardew will make of that, with Chelsea coming up for West Ham on Saturday. Bolton's Tal Ben-Haim and Idan Tal also play, along with the former Wimbledon man Walid Badir in midfield. There are 4 players from the current Israeli league leaders, Bitar Jerusalem. Croatia have to make 2 changes to the side who beat England. The keeper Pletakosa is ill, so Runya makes his international debut in goal at the age of 30. Also out with injury is Rapajic, the feisty player who gave Ashley Cole a few problems against England. That means Cerna returns from injury on the right to win his 41st cap. And this is the stadium, by the way, which will house the game against England on March the 24th. It holds something like 41,000 fans. Not completely full tonight, nearly full. Wonderful atmosphere, as you've been hearing. Spanish referee tonight, Eduardo Gonzalez, and both of these two sides believe that they have a serious chance of making it through this group. Remember, 4 teams locked on 7 points. And the surface, incidentally, one of the best I've ever seen. Agree, Tony?
Fantastic service, and in England we're going to be worried in March when they come. England, they've got no fears there. This is a very good pitch.
Israel, by the way, confirmed by the Israeli FA yesterday on £15,000 per man to qualify. And just to wind up England a bit further, some of the Israeli players have been saying in the build-up to this game that they believe Croatia are the best team in the group. And Israel in the blue kit, who've never qualified for the European Championship finals, getting us underway here. This is Badir, who used to play for Wimbledon about 7 seasons ago. He actually scored at Old Trafford as well against Manchester United. Going back a bit, mind.
Badir just be sitting in front of the back 4 for Israel tonight, just being the anchor man in there. Just the one striker, Balaruti up front on his own. I think they'll be looking at Yossi Ben-Ayoun to really get up and support him when they're in possession.
There's Slaven Bilic, who had plenty to say both before and after that England match. He's made a great start, it has to be said, unbeaten so far as the Croatian boss. This is spread wide to Zandberg, playing on the right-hand side. Ben-Ayoun, by the way, will have a free roll just behind the striker, so we understand anyway, the skipper. That's Modric looking to help it forward. Idan Tal with the header for Israel.
Croatia more going with 2 strikers in. I think that's the difference tonight. Petric and Eduardo up there, so they're going for it. There's no question about that. They should be able to really zip it about on this surface.
2 Italian-based defenders at the back there for Croatia, and Robert Kovac and Dario Simic, lots of experience. This is Simunic. Croatia in their very distinctive, almost Grand Prix flag style shirts, worn proudly by their travelling fans. They've got a few here as well. This is Niko Kovac looking to find a way through.
Just a good tackle in the middle of the midfield at the moment, and I think that's going to be a congested area between the 2 sides. You see Eduardo just sneaking out to this left-hand side at the start of the game. I wonder if they're just trying to counter Israel at the start before they decide to push him up front in support of Petric as well. But at the moment, just drifting out to this left-hand side, you'll notice. It's going to leave it very congested in the middle of the park. 3-on-3. very difficult to play, and your first touch has to be sure.
This is Simionic, the man who famously got the 3 yellow cards from Graham Poll. Sorry to keep reminding Mr. Poll about that. Croatians yet, by the way, to concede a goal in this group. And it's a bit of a misplaced pass from Badia.
They'll be nervy tonight, Israel. They know they've got a fantastic chance. It set itself up nicely. Interesting to see what they said about Croatia as well. Maybe fearing them a little, saying that they're the best team in the group. I'm sure all the English boys might have something to say about that one. Long way to go.
Mind you, Israel are unbeaten in 13 competitive matches going back to 2003 when they lost to France in Paris. That was Eduardo who scored against England, looking to make his way down that left-hand side. Might just play slightly deeper tonight away from home. Niko Kovac, 35-year-old skipper. Zandberg, who's been restored to the side tonight. This is Afek, and back to Tauban Haim of Bolton Wanderers. Ben Youssef. Israel got a very useful 1-1 draw away against Russia in their last match. They were under the cosh in that game. Russia missed a lot of chances, and then Ben Shushan came up with an equaliser 6 minutes from the end for Israel. And that, I think, has really got everybody excited in this country that their team maybe can make it from this group. A lot depending on this game tonight. It's a big, big one in England's group. This is Nico Kranjčar of Portsmouth. Modric to pick it up in the midfield. Good pacey run from him. It's Modric. He's going all the way. Terrific run from the midfielder.
Fantastic run, wasn't it? Just as he got to the defence, you think the defence a little bit square, a little bit of a nutmeg there and a flick over the keeper, but too much. Maybe just an outside of the foot needed there, going back across the keeper, and that would have been 1-0. Fantastic quick feet on the edge of the area, though. Catches the defender square. Maybe should have finished.
Well, he's a coming talent, I think, in Europe, Luka Modric. I know that Bayern Munich and Werder Bremen have been looking at him. He's only 21 years of age. He's already scored against Italy in his international career. That was a really good run.
Wasn't the best of defending, though, by Tauban Haim as the last man. Just caught himself square. Didn't really show Modric one way or the other. The nutmeg was outrageous, wasn't it, on the edge of the area, and so easily could have been 1-0.
Croatia, of course, did make it to the World Cup finals, but they haven't been beaten since they lost there against Brazil. Here's Zandberg hugging the right-hand touchline. Casey on that far side. Now Badia. Albaman. And now Afek. Good football from Israel. Afek feeds it inside. He was looking to go for the return, but it wasn't properly executed.
Well, patient stuff. Some may say a little bit too patient. They got the ball wide in the first place to Zandberg. A long diagonal. Maybe he could have got at the left full-back, Simionic there. He had a one-on-one situation, came inside. 5 or 6 more passes. It was back to where it came from. Be a little bit more direct when they get in that last third and get their crosses in.
Simic forward for Croatia. 2-0 winners, remember, over England. This is Kola Uti. He's only winning his 4th cap. Bright Argentine-born striker. Modric again. Kovac feeding it wide, and Eduardo da Silva unable to keep it in play.
Well, 7 minutes of the game. I don't think Yossi Ben Ayoun's had a kick. He's a player that they really want to get on the ball as much as possible.
Right on cue, he gets it. Benayoun with the captain's armband. That's a good ball through towards Albaman. Kolouti trying to get on the end of it. He's going to score here. Big mistake in the Croatian defence. And Kolouti has put Israel ahead and sparked wild celebrations in this Tel Aviv stadium.
The first time Benayoun gets on the ball and he causes a problem. Drifts out to the left-hand side, comes inside to receive, and it's a great final ball. Terrible mix-up in the defence, though, and the easiest of tapping for Kolouti. That's what Benayoun's all about, Ian. You can see he comes in off that flank, gets the ball, feeds it through. Kolouti continues his run. What a mess up in the defence, and simple tapping.
Big mistake by Seminic, wasn't it? Misunderstanding perhaps with the new goalkeeper, Runya, making his debut. That might have been a factor in it as well. Was there a shout from the keeper?
You can see as it comes through there, Seminic touch it back. He thinks he's back on his line, Runya, but he's out there. He's too far out. And it's the opening goal.
What a nightmare for the goalkeeper. I think that was just about his first touch, wasn't it? To pick the ball out of the net.
To say, though, Benayoun coming off that flank, he just came in off that left-hand side here and received the ball in that little hole, in that little pocket. And he loves getting at players and just sliding those balls through. And that's what pulls the goal.
Kranjčar to take the free kick, goes deep, and it's well held by the Israeli goalkeeper, Dudu Awat, one of those who was saying Croatia are better than England in the build-up to this. Here's Benayoun, who was instrumental, of course, in the build-up to the goal, as was Albaman, who did well. Kranjčar. Now Eduardo. Petric. Now Modric, who's looked like he might be a danger man. Cerna's wide on the right. Can the Israelis hold their nerve? If they can, they're going to wind up top of this group by the end of the night, but there's a long way to go, of course. Kranjčar looking to work a 1-2 with Petric on the edge of the box. Quite a start here. Cerna goes to ground. I think that looked like a dive to me, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, it was a dive. Going nowhere, really. Mental held him up well. Cerna was going nowhere, tried to claim the foul. Here's the goal again. Look, just feeds through to Kolouti in the end. Via Seminic, it just touches it over the line. I'll have that one, thank you very much, even though it was going in. Wouldn't mind one of them every week, strikers, would you?
Well, even if the goalkeeper didn't call, it was a very poor piece of defending, wasn't it, by Seminic?
Well, he just had to hack it away probably with his right foot and go back to where it came, but trying to get a little bit too cute. Certainly in the penalty area and cost his team dear.
Stephen Curran, when he sees that, will be reflecting, why didn't they do that against us?
He didn't get that far up the pitch, did he?
Not that often, that's for certain. Kovac with a loose ball. Sandberg was able to cut it out. Just listen to the noise around here. Across the former West Ham Everton defender, and that's the first goal, of course, that Croatia have conceded in the group so far.
They're a team who don't make mistakes normally. Very difficult to beat, and you deal with things a lot better than they did do there. But Modric just before that had a fantastic chance, didn't he, when he went through after nutmegging Benayoun on the edge of the area. I wonder if that's going to cost them dearly, because it was a great chance created by himself, but could have been one up before that happened.
Robert Kovac feeding forward to Cerna, who's trying to pick up the run of Petric, the striker who marked his international debut with 4 goals earlier on in this group against Andorra. But they have been very much the chopping blocks, of course. Seminic. And the only good thing from Croatia's point of view is they've got a long time left in the game to put things right. Goal arriving in the 8th minute.
I think this is where they're particularly good, though, and they keep possession in the middle of the midfield really well. Modric, Kovac, Kranjčar as well. Just got to carve out them openings. The moment that lone striker up front, Petric, just had the one run from Modric coming from deep from midfield, but they're very, very good at keeping possession as a 3 in the middle of the park.
Kolouti, the goal scorer, is on the chase again here. It's the second time he's scored already in this group. But he's only playing for Israel, by the way, because he married an Israeli girl recently. He got clearance from FIFA to play in this group 2 days before his debut. Towards Kolouti, got a useful header on it. Just as well that Robert Kovac was there.
Useful header, but a free header, totally unmarked. Two centre-backs just leaving it to each other and no one dealing with it at all.
Badia. PC wide on that side. He's been playing for Israel for 12 years now. Sandberg. Alberman, excuse the play by him. Affect continues with his run forward as well. The right back, he's in the penalty area waiting. Sandberg's done well. He's got it through to him as well.
Good in possession, sorry Ian, but they're really panicking in defence, and that mistake for the goal. Simunic has made them even more nervy, you can see, trying to make a tackle as they burst in the area.
Loose ball again from the Croatians, who've been very slow to settle here in Tel Aviv tonight. It was only a couple of months ago that Israel got clearance to play home matches again in their own country after the conflict with the Hezbollah guerrillas, which was, of course, feature of all the summer news bulletins. It's a long-range effort this time from Niko Kovac.
A bit optimistic from that range. Maybe could have kept a possession, played off the striker and got another midfield player in, but a little bit of panic set in, although we're only 14 minutes into the game. Perfect start for Israel, though.
That's the coach, Dror Kashdan, who's definitely one from the say nout school of managers. I think the most words he used in any answers to the press last night was about 5. Seemed to resent most of the questions as well. But he's doing a good job, it has to be said, for his country.
He doesn't even like us watching the pre-game training session, did they? 10 or 15 minutes and chucked out.
This is Idan Tal, who started in the Premiership for Bolton for the first time at the weekend against Sheffield United. Now Badia. Casey on the far side. Badia looking to feed it in again.
Feed it into Benoit, who's just sitting in that little pocket again, and just trying to sit in that pocket between defence and midfield. Done it once for the goal, he set up the goal, and they're just trying to get him into that position. Of course, you have to keep the ball patiently, wait for the opening to happen, and then slip it into that pocket. And of course, that's Kolouti's job, to keep the defence stretched, to make sure that that pocket happens.
Alberman. Goes down, play on, says the referee. Idan Tal picks it up. He wants a shot with the left foot. It was worth a crack, but it was a long, long way over the bar.
Always looking to come on that left foot, wasn't he? There's the tackle. Idan Tal coming onto his left foot after that and firing over the bar. Not much wrong with that. Good tackle.
Alberman, who plays for Beitar Jerusalem, the league leaders in Israel, he scored in a top-of-the-table draw against the champions Maccabi Haifa last week. Idan Tal getting it away. Important for Israel to hold their nerve and their shape. Up to Croatia to do something about their self-induced problems. Kovac, Robert Kovac, that is. one of the two brothers. Now Eduardo looking to work with Petric. Here's Alverman again. He's done well. Zandberg, another of the players from the league leaders, Bitar. Fascinating, of course, for England fans to just get a little taste of what Israel are about. Expecting about 5,000 England fans to be here. One or two police and security officers doing a little recce ahead of that game here tonight.
The Israeli public can't wait, can they? That's what the talk has been about that England game, and the welcome they're going to give to the fans as well.
Remember, 2 qualify from the group. Second place would be good enough. Now then, Eduardo.
He's looking out on this left-hand side at the moment, Eduardo. He's not really drifting inside to help the main striker, Petric. Once or twice he's come in, but immediately goes back out on this left, really trying to keep the width for Croatia.
Modric, who came close early on for the Croatians with a good run. Trying to find it through to Petric, but the alert Afek was there at the back.
So they've got to be very concentrated, Israel, when Croatia are in possession, keeping the ball in and around here, not jump out the line and get caught square.
Serna dispossessed. So far, so good for Israel. I just wonder if the kind of mistake Croatia made at the back there, Tony, will get them starting to believe this might be their night.
It was a gift, and it's exactly what you need, just to calm the nerve. They've passed the ball better since the goal. You see around here, they're keeping it patiently. When they're rushed, when Croatia do press, they tend to give it away a little bit. Go for the longer ball like that, rather than trying to feed it into Ben Iron's feet, where he created that goal.
Luka taking it quickly for the Croatians. Croatians still have a very good record in European Championship qualifiers. Only lost 4 times in 29. The goalkeeper, now did he handle that outside the area? Not quite, I don't think. Just about got rid of it in time.
Extremely well, didn't he? I thought at one stage he was coming out there, Watts. Caught it, then just pushed it back out again. I think he dealt with it very well in the end. He realised the momentum had he just kept it in his hands, would have carried him outside that area.
Siminic towards Eduardo. He's allowed to take it and turn by Afek, and Eduardo's pace has got him to the byline here. And the cross pretty disappointing at the end of that. Serna had to go fetch. Back in towards Petric. Picked up by Niko Kovac. Modric. Cranshaw with the chip forward. A nice little ball towards Petric. Good idea that from the Croatians. Cute ball from Cranshaw, who tries his luck from distance. He's never frightened to shoot.
Just trying to get his half volley away, but snatched at it and really dragged it wide. That's the first time Eduardo's had a chance really to run at the right back on this side, and Afek was beaten quite easily. You see, this is the dealt with the ball, catches it there. He realises the momentum's going to bring him out and spills it out. Deals a bit quite well in the end.
It's quite quick thinking, really, by Awet, who plays for Deportivo La Coruña, by the way, in Spain. The Israeli fans in full voice. Simic with a little chip forward. Cut out quickly by Tal Ben Haim, who finds it, and Tal is Bolton Wanderers' teammate. Then Kalouti. Kalouti goes for the return. Nice, neat football that from the Israelis.
Croatia want to press high and they can get in behind. Kolarusi's always shown he's got a burst of speed to get in behind the two centre-backs, Simic and Kovac. They've got to be careful. Just one little knock-off, and if they're too tight, they can spin and get in behind for the return pass. As the game progresses, they'll probably try and hold a higher line.
Modric has looked impressive so far, up towards Petric. Now Cerna. Dangerous this for Croatia, driven across towards the back post. They're surely going to score here, but scrambled away in the nick of time by Ben Yusuf. Simjanic. Just for a moment there, it looked as if that defence was going to be breached.
There was a lapse of concentration. Cerna broke down that right-hand side. They didn't track their runners. Ball comes across. He's got two to pick out, one far or one near. Goes for the far, Eduardo. And he, I think, really should have just slipped in the near man. He just gets his head up here. Can see the run coming through Croatia. I think he needs to pick him out rather than Eduardo on the far side. And it's cleared, fortunately, by Israel, because they did get caught in the numbers game there. Broke from midfield, Croatia, and he wasn't tracking their runners.
Despite that bad start, there's just a feeling with Croatia that there's an extra belief about them these days. No panic and beginning to dominate possession, and that's a very good ball from Simic to Modric. Petric is on the back post, headed back in, but the goalkeeper had read it.
They're starting to create a few chances, and I think the fullbacks for Israel, Afek and Youssef, they're not really pressing out. You can see if they can press out, there's only one to mark for the two centre-backs, but yeah, fortunately there, Petric doesn't really have any support to get his header back to anyone. They're too deep, the fullbacks, for knocking one at some stages, and that's not enough. They're getting runners coming from deep from midfield, really catching them out.
Here's Badir, winning his 67th cap tonight, by the way, the holding midfield player for Israel, wearing the number 10 shirt. Now Ben Ayoun, with this knee ligament tear. He's admitted it before the game, but absolutely adamant that he's going to play for his country in this big match. There's one or two stories locally from the local journalist that he said to them that he might miss West Ham's next 3 after that. There might be an interesting discussion going on at Upton Park about that when he gets home.
I hope Alan Pardew isn't watching or listening.
Premiership managers have spies everywhere, don't worry about that. Sandberg played it wide to Afek. Just to get forward. He's the right back again, who actually scored twice on his debut for Israel.
That was sloppy, wasn't it, by Afek? Got himself into a good position there, and really just had to slip it under the back foot. The Ben Ayoun, it was a poor pass into the last third and then gave it away.
Went out of play on that far side. I mean, one thing to say, really, we've been here for a couple of days, Tony, is that there's going to be no excuses, really, for England when they come here. It's not a particularly intimidating stadium. It's very open, and the pitch is gorgeous.
No excuses, I think you're right. Certainly looking forward to England coming here. They will be greeted, and they'll get a great welcome, I think, from the fans. Big Premiership fans over here. Everyone you speak to, big fans of our Premiership, and can't wait for England to come here. But as you said, Ian, there's no excuses. This pitch is lovely. It's far from volatile.
England haven't been here since 1988 in Bobby Robson's reign. That was a 0-0 draw. And a couple of years before that, they won 2-1 here. Brian Robson getting both of the goals in another friendly. A lot more at stake in March, that's for certain. Cerna here. Crackshell's broken into the box. Eduardo is deep again, and it's nicely dealt with in the end.
Nicely dealt with, but again, they're finding one striker into his feet. And I think they've really got to get tight. Fullbacks, as I said, should be pushing in. Afek and Youssef. Casey and Ben Ayoun have really got to get tight to that one striker. Stop that first ball going in.